All right, you guys, what's up? We're live. Welcome back to BSPN on our live feeds. As you're logging on here, say hello. Tell me where you're coming in from. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my YouTube channel like I did the last couple of times because that way I can see the comments faster. There we go. All right. What's up, guys? Like I said, as you get logged on here, say hello, type into the chat. Let me know where you're here from and where you're joining from. Tonight's live stream, we are going to go over the top 5 in the Tampa Pro. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Masters Olympia coming up this weekend, too. So, tell me where you're here from. And tell me which show you're interested in reviewing most. What's up? What's up, Lexi? We do have other shows going on this weekend. We have Tahoe going on, all of that as well. We'd be here for hours if we previewed all of the shows. Like I said last week, we're going to be shifting a little bit with our content. So we're just going to follow and cover the major shows, the ones that have, major implications for the Olympia, the Arnold, that kind of thing. So we are going to wrap up Tampa, and we are going to kind of preview the Masters Olympia as well. So if you're just joining us, go ahead and type in, tell me where you're joining us from. We got Niagara Falls, Canada. Well, I went to college in Rochester, New York. So we went up to Niagara Falls a lot. We went to the casino because the casino was 24 hours. So, when the bars closed in Rochester, we got in the car and drove up there. Yeah, a lot of nights I don't remember. We got California in the house. Where else we got coming in from? And I do have the stream up on my phone too. I did this last time. I actually can see the comments faster when they come in on my stream on my phone than when I've got it on my software. So I've learned just to leave that up so that I can see your comments faster. We always give it about 3 minutes for everybody to get on here and for the notifications to pop up. So you see that we're live, all of the things. So we'll roll right into it in just a minute here. Yeah, I always tell people that I'm basically from Canada. I'm from upstate New York, but I basically tell people I'm from Canada because that's essentially Canada. I've been up there several times. Toronto, Niagara Falls a lot. I lived in Buffalo for a little bit, so we're up there too. Went to school in Rochester where it was friggin' freezing. I don't know why. I don't know why. I always told myself I was going to go south for college and I ended up going north, so that was on me. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So like I said, we are going to review the Tampa Pro, go over the top 5. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Masters Olympia coming up. So we're going to do Tampa first. Let me go ahead and pull up the pictures. Was anybody there in person? I was not. I usually do go to that show, but I didn't have any competitors in it this year, so I did not go. And it's a really, really long show now. It's like 4 days, basically, you have to be there, which is very long. Very long, which is very expensive. So as we're looking at the top 5 here, no real surprises. We did kind of say that we thought that Romina would be up in there, potentially Jody. Jody was just outside the top 5 again, same thing that she had in Chicago. And then we've got, Kate and Neday, Taylor and Marie. These are all girls that we just assumed were going to be up in that top call out. So pretty much played out how we thought it was going to. Even going down into like the top 10, it played out pretty much how I thought it was going to. It's just a matter of who's going to show up better that day. With Marie Eve winning it, she hasn't been on the Olympia stage in a little bit, so we didn't really know how she was going to show up today. She's missed the Olympic qualification by just a couple of spots, several times in the last couple of years. Taylor is already qualified, all of that as well. So we're going to take a look. Look at our blonde bombshell. I know I'm embracing my Barbie era, you guys. I'm embracing my Barbie era. It's a fun time. It's a fun time. Let's see. And hey from Virginia. There you go. Yeah, we got some hometown in there. We got some hometown in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and expand this and let's get into it. And we're going to start with Romina. So Romina did take fifth. That was very, I assumed that was pretty much how that was going to go down. Now, these pictures are a little bit off center. Let's see. Yeah, they're just a little bit off. So it's hard to really evaluate this front pose because she's off center with the picture. So I don't want to judge it too hard as far as how her angling is and all that kind of stuff. But I will say, I've never seen Romina with the curls like this before, and I kind of like it. It's different for me because she's not worn this before. I don't know. I'm like, part of me is like, I really like it because it kind of gives her a little bit more oomph, a little bit more glam and all of that. But the other part of me is like, I'm just so used to seeing her straight hair that it just looks different, right? So that said, I think it was a smart move because she tends to be a little bit more top heavy than bottom heavy when it comes to her overall balance and shape. So the way that she played her hair here, covering her shoulders a bit, was smart. Right. I think that kind of playing down the width a little bit was actually a really, really good move. So I'm going to give her props on that. I think that was good. This is probably the tightest I've seen her core in a very, very long time. Like as far as conditioning wise, this is probably the best conditioning I've seen on Romina in a very, very long time. And this is the first show that she's competed in since her husband passed away. So, I wasn't really sure what kind of version of Romina we were going to get because of the issues in her personal life and all of that. So, it's kind of nice to be able to see her come out and kind of kill it for her look. I think this was a really good look for her. So, we're going to pull to the back pose, and I've got a couple things to say about that. Okay. Okay, back pose. So again, I do like the curls here. I think it's a really pretty look on her. I think it actually frames her upper body very, very well. Glutes look great. Legs need some size. I mean, she's just very glute heavy, glute dominant in the back. Romina's glutes are always good. That's never going to be a problem for her. But when you look at her legs, she looks very skinny through her legs. And she's got her toes pointed all the way out too. So it's actually her legs. It's not the pose. It's not any of those things. She needs to grow some size. She's always been a little top heavy. But this is really a big imbalance to me. Like she looks very, very glute dominant here. So I would say keep the glutes and the upper body right where they are and work on building up your legs. We just need some more size in those legs. That's where her main focus should be if you're asking me. So let's switch over. Here we go. Okay, in fourth, we have Kate. So Kate just won Chicago. So, coming into this show, you would consider her to be your front runner. But again, she was in fourth. Not a bad placing, especially when we're talking about Tampa. But I would have probably thought she might be fighting for the win here, and she wasn't. She was outside that top two. So let's pull up a front pose for her. Kate is a little bit on the smaller side as far as her look is concerned. So when she gets back next to bigger, fuller competitors, that does get exposed, right? So she's got a great shape to her, really pretty look overall. But you can see it clearly here. She doesn't have the same kind of shoulder roundness like we just saw on Romina. She just needs a little bit more size overall. I actually think her legs here and her calves look pretty good, but I think her upper body needs a little bit more roundness, a little bit more fullness, specifically the delts. I think her shape with her lats is fine. I don't think she needs any more lats there, but again, a little bit more mass on there so she can get fuller and rounder. She just looks a little bit small in comparison to the other girls in this lineup. So let me find a back shot. And again, I'm not going to critique their poses too hard because she's a little bit more on center than Romina was, but each one of these photos are a little bit different as far as the angle, which is interesting. So, all right, back shot here. So she's kind of got the opposite problem that Romina had, right? So she's a little bit bigger on the legs from the back than she is from the glutes. She also has her toes out quite a bit. She could probably pull her toes in a little, but I don't necessarily think she needs to do that. I think she just needs to grow glutes. From the back, she looks a lot blockier in the lower back, in the waistline, than she does from the front. She's got some pretty significant, what do you call them on the outside there, in her lower back. I think that's from training. It could be a genetic thing, just be how her shape is put together. But if that's the case, then she does need to open her back up a little bit more, and she does need to get some more width and some more shoulders from the back, so that she creates more of that V shape from her shoulders down into her lower back. I would like to see a little bit more hair here too. It looks a little bit sparse on the outside. I'm going to talk about that in a minute too with another one of the girls. But she just in general, just again, needs more size. And she needs to be balanced between her glutes and her legs. Her glutes need more oomph. She just needs more. Like, the great shape, great projection and fullness, but she needs them bigger in order to balance her frame. Again, just needs size all the way around. All right, so let's go on to Neday. Now, Neday has been battling in those top 2-3 spots all year already, right? Like, I mean, it's been every single show that she's been in. She's been, knocking at the door of a win. But, I have a little bit of insight on this package and everything already. We're going to pull up her front pose here. The biggest issue with Neday is that this front pose is very inconsistent. I don't think they've quite found it yet. She poses very sideways here. She's got such full shoulders and roundness and all of this, but she's got a very short torso in comparison to her legs. So she's always trying to kind of minimize that core and make it smaller and everything. But in doing so, she's just not quite hitting this front pose the way she needs to hit it. So I know they've been working on this all year. They've been really trying to get this front pose down. I mean, she's to the point where, like, you can look at her heels. Her heel height is really low. Like, that's a 4-inch heel, if that, because her legs are so long. They're trying to balance her frame out as best they can. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. And the crazy part about it is, actually, I'm going to flip to that next picture because that was a good indication. You just have to keep playing with this to find the right pose. When you look here, she doesn't look quite as long through her legs. She looks longer through her torso here because of the way she's angling her body. So it's just a matter of finding the right pose for her. Like, this actually looks more balanced top to bottom than the front pose does, just because of how she's actually sitting back into her hip and making those legs look a little bit shorter by doing that. So again, some of the things that she's got to work on as far as her posing is concerned is she just needs to figure out how to make her upper body look longer and her legs look shorter, basically. So the only way to do that is to start playing with some angles. Just start playing with some stuff and just see what happens. You might find something random. I do this with clients a lot, where we'll just kind of start moving them in certain different positions that we may not normally put people into, but we got to do it in order to find what's going to flatter their frame the best. Not everybody's a cookie cutter. Just do the front pose like this. It just doesn't work like that. Everybody's got a shape that you got to play with. From the back, I think this is one of the better looks that I've seen from her from the back. Her glutes are nice and full. Even her hamstrings are a little fuller. This was something I mentioned because I've seen her compete in person, where I thought maybe she needed a little bit more fullness and depth to her hamstrings. And in this particular show, I don't think that was the case. I think she looked really good here. So she's really close, man. She's really close. The only thing I would say here is to bring the hands down a little bit on the legs, because those elbows are out quite a bit. She's got some significant width through that upper body. And it's almost a little too much. I know they're trying to show the cartoonish proportions, and she's showing that, but I would pull the hands down just a touch on the legs to bring the elbows in just a touch. Right. So that is what I would do. I just keep playing with that front pose and then just tweak the arms here in this back pose. And again, I'm not going to critique too much on the stance because this photo is off center and it's a little tilted. So I don't want to say too much because I don't think she's as tilted as this picture makes her look like she is. And we are going to go to Taylor next. So this was second place. Taylor is already qualified for the Olympia. So we're going to take a look at her front pose here. Okay. So overall, good front pose. I want to see the upper body relax a little bit. It's a little bit overposed in my opinion. Waistline is really tight here. In a good way. She's full, but she's nice and tiny and tight through that waistline. Glutes are nice and full. Like this is really good conditioning here. I just like to see her relax that upper body a little bit. She's tilted a touch, and I just like to see her kind of breathe and lengthen the neck and let go of the traps. I actually said this during posing. I said this during a posing session today with one of my clients, and I said, tits up, traps down. So that's my new saying, you guys, tits up, traps down. So that's what she needs here. She's got the tits up. She's got to bring the traps down. That's where a lot of girls carry their tension is in the traps. So you just got to kind of breathe and relax and let it come out. If she could do that, I think that would even her upper body out a little bit, because right now it just looks like she's a little overpowering on the upper body just because of the width and the way she's posing it. I don't think she actually is overpowering. I just think it's because of the way she's posing it. But yes, I'm going to get shirts that say tits up, traps down. So everybody wants one, you know. Okay, back pose. First thing that we notice in the back pose is the hair. She needs more hair too. You know, we talked about this with Kate. Kate needs a little bit more hair. She definitely needs a little bit more hair. This looks like it's just really scraggly and not quite put together. And it's not doing her any favors physique-wise either. It's making her lower back look a lot thicker than it actually is, which actually takes away from some of the pop and the projection in her glutes. I think she's got great balance in her glutes and legs. Really, really good balance here in the glutes and legs. But just because of the illusion, it doesn't look like she has much shoulders up top. And it doesn't look like she has much width in her back into her lower back. And a lot of that is due to the way that her hair is positioned. It's just showing too much skin. And this is why, again, we talk about with bikini, we want the hair down the back because it can help to create those angles that we're looking for and those cartoonish looks with the small little waistline in the back. And when you don't have it there, you got nothing to work with. You got nothing to play with. So, you know, I also think her tan looks a little bit splotchy to me as well. Like it looks a little almost like gray greenish. I'm looking at the live stream on my phone too to see if it's a little different. But yeah, the tan's a little off. Tan's a little off here. So I also think the tan needs to be fixed a little here too. So in general, not a bad look by any stretch of the imagination, but there's just little tiny things, presentation things that could definitely help to bump her up and could have potentially gotten her a win here. And then we have Marie Eve. So Marie Eve is the winner here. Again, she has been so close to winning shows over the last 2 years and just hasn't been able to punch her ticket, but we got it. She got it this time. Let's look at her front pose. And just overall, her smile and presence is really powerful. Okay, so this is really, really good. Fullness. Conditioning is right on. Fullness is right on. She's tight everywhere, but she's not overly hard or grainy or anything like that. front pose, you can see she's posing open to the judges, but she's not over posing open. Like Neday was a little bit closed off, and then Taylor was a little bit too open. This is right, just right. This is right down the middle, just right. Okay. Really pretty overall polish with her suit, her hair, her makeup, all of that. And she just looks really, really confident here. Confidence is really written all over your body and how you present yourself. And you can tell she's very confident in the actual package she brought to the stage. Find a back pose. Yeah, this is the best. This is the best Marie I've seen as well. I think, and again, just looking over her overall presence, was just next level. You know, you can just see it in her face that she was really, really happy with her overall look. And here, this is what we're talking about too, with the balance, right? Balance into her glutes and her legs, really, really spot on. She can be a little glute overpowering. You've got to be careful with that. But going back to what we were talking about with the hair, her hair is very well put together here, very polished. Again, because she has a little bit more on her back, it helps to hide that width, the lack of width in her back. She doesn't have the widest back, you know. Neday, she's right here on here. Neday's got a huge freaking width in her back. Marie doesn't have that, but the way she has it positioned helps to give the right illusion, give the right shape, right? I don't think I would change anything about this back pose. And again, she's got a little bit fuller conditioning than all the rest of the girls that we just talked about. And it works for her. I don't know what her feedback was. They might have told her she needed to be a little bit tighter, maybe, but I don't necessarily think she needs to, because when she gets onto the stage with the Olympians, I think this is more the look that she's going to need, this softer, fuller look. And it's not by much. It's just by a hair. She still has the tie-ins. She still has that fullness and roundness. She's still really tight everywhere, but she's got that full round pop. To me, I feel like this is perfect bikini conditioning. I don't know if her feedback was that she needed to be a little bit tighter or not. They may have told her that. But if they did, I think it's more based on the girls she was standing next to versus what she would actually need for the Olympia. I think this is right on for the Olympia. You know, she might want to try getting a little bit more fullness into her legs, a little bit more size into her legs, in order to balance out the glutes. But I don't necessarily think that that's the right solution either, because then they might be a little bit overpowering for her upper body. So maybe just be careful about the glutes getting too big is what I would say. I think just being sure you don't get any bigger on the glutes, and maybe, I don't know. The balance looks pretty good, but it could be a little bit glute overpowering. So again, I don't know exactly what the right solution here is, whether it's to try to grow a little bit more on the legs, or it's to just bring the glutes down just a touch. So regardless, she won the show. She's qualified for the Olympia again. So thankfully, she was able to do that this year. And I think this was, like I said, I think this was a really, really good package for her. And I think that it was to me, it was a pretty clear win. So good for her, right? Guys, any questions about Tampa before we go into Masters Olympia? We're just going to preview the Masters Olympia really quickly. Going to go through some of the people to be paying attention to. To be honest with you, I haven't seen a whole lot of hype. But let's see. Let's see here. Pull up the list. Here it is. Okay. So Masters Olympia is 40 and over, for those of you that don't know. So you had to have won a 40 and over class. Okay. So there was some like controversy and stuff like that. Like if you were over the age of 40 and you won a 35 and over class, are you qualified? And the answer is no. You had to win an actual over 40 class. So these are all ladies who have actually won an over 40 class. Now, there's one thing that I did. I could be wrong on this, but I thought the top 3 from the Masters Olympia 2023 already were qualified for this year. But I'm not sure about that, because the girl that placed 3rd is not on this list. Now, that could mean that she just decided not to do it. She could have been qualified and just decided not to compete in it. That's definitely very possible. But I thought it was top 3. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was top 3 from the 2023 Masters Olympia are already qualified for this year. So looking at the list, go ahead and shout out anybody that you think could potentially be a winner here. I pulled up a few names that I think could be decent. And just going to be a matter of like who shows up the best. Now, the interesting part about the 40 and over is typically these women don't all compete against each other a lot. They don't. There's just not a lot of 40 and over shows. So, I mean, there's some of them that competed against each other, but most of them not. So we just don't know what they're going to look like next to each other. And like you're going to get to when we get to the end of the list, you're going to see also one of our final competitors here that hasn't competed against any of these girls in Masters. So the first one that I brought up is Noelle. She has done well in Open as well as Masters. So that's why I brought her up as a potential contender for this particular show. Let me pull up a front pose. Here's one. We're not going to go through all of their photos or anything like that. This time, I'm just going to show like 1 or 2 just so that you can see who we're talking about. Beautiful girl. Again, this is over 40. So nice full roundness, really good conditioning. Her biggest issue is her waistline. So that could be an issue for her in this particular show. But the fact is she does place top 5 even in the Open. So, this could definitely be something where she could pull out a top 5 here as well. So no, there was another girl. I thought that I pulled up the list. There was one other girl, and I should have pulled her up. Let me look real quick because I did have her up. Or maybe she was 4th. I thought she was 3rd, though. No, she was 3rd. Nukia, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Was 3rd. This girl. She placed 3rd. According to NPC News Online, she placed 3rd. And she's not on the list for this year. So then we have Nicole, again, another one that places top 5 in the Open at times. So she's definitely one to be paying attention to. Pull her picture up here. All righty. So again, Nicole's one to be paying attention to in this particular show. She is one that tends to place top 5, first call out, second thing in the Open as well. So she could be a potential up here as well. She is a little bit more muscular, a little bit more on the bigger side when it comes to muscularity, a little bit more conditioned, all of that. So that may play well for her, may not. It's just gonna be a matter of how everybody shows up and stands next to each other on the day of the show. And we have Janine. So Janine just won St. Pete. She was top 3 in the Masters Olympia this last time. So she's definitely a contender here. She only competed the one time this year. So we haven't seen a whole lot of her this year, but potentially just was doing that so that she could get her feet warmed up for the Olympia, the Masters Olympia. And I think she's probably going into this wanting to win this title. So I think it also makes sense as far as how her strategy was put together. Again, she's a little bit thicker in the waistline. So, this particular look to me wasn't the best that I've seen. She doesn't have quite that width up through her upper body that we've seen in the past. She's a little bit thicker through that waistline. So I don't know. She might need to just pose a little bit more open. This could just be the pose that she's in, and that's why she's not showing that width up top. But this is the same thing that we're talking about the last couple of girls we brought up. They got a little bit thicker waistlines. I mean, a lot of the girls that are over 40 are moms, so that has something to do with it as well. So, this could compare well for her. This could play well for her. I think her conditioning is really good. I think that her shape just needs to be a little bit more open. And again, it could just be her posing. It could just be her posing that's the issue here. So probably a good idea that she got on stage and did the warm-up show. And we do have Carrie Ann as well. So Carrie Ann she was an Olympian in the Open before as well. So, she did qualify and placed in the top 4 at the Masters Olympia. And again, same thing. So she's a little bit thicker through the waistline. Again, all of these girls are. That kind of happens as you get into your 40s. She's a little bit more conditioned. Again, happens as you get into your 40s. So again, all of these girls are a little bit on the harder side, a little bit on the thicker side, all of that stuff. So they're going to compare pretty well to each other, most likely. Now, our reigning champion is Jessica. Now, Jessica has come very close to winning or being in the top 10 at the actual Open Olympia. So she is by far your front runner going into the show. She is qualified for this year's Olympia as well. She won the Battle of the Bay in December this past year, so she is qualified. And the biggest difference here is that she fits the Open criteria better than these other women do. So you notice she's a little bit softer, a little bit fuller, a little bit rounder, waistline smaller, right? So this is, in my opinion, the one to beat. She is the reigning champion, but she does have a completely different look than the other girls. So that can play well for you. You could be just that much better than everybody. Or it can play against you. If you're the oddball, if you're the orange in a group of apples, this could play against you. In Jessica's case, I don't think it's going to hurt her. I think it's going to be a beneficial thing for her. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to beat her at this show because, again, she has more of the open bikini look, and that's what the judges are trying to reward regardless, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think that Jessica's going to win this, or do you think that somebody's going to come up and take her place? I'll give it a minute for you guys to type in your thoughts. But like I said, I do think it's going to be very hard for somebody to come in and beat her just because she is an Open Olympian, currently qualified for the Open Olympia. And unless she comes in really off, I really don't see anybody beating her. Now, I'm also a little bit jealous because Japan is phenomenal. As you guys know, I competed there. And it's a really, really cool experience. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of hype around this Masters Olympia. So I'm curious to see what happens with the coverage because I haven't really seen a whole lot. In general, I haven't seen a whole lot of coverage or hype for the Olympia either, right? So let's talk about that for a second. While you guys are typing in your 2 cents here, have you guys felt like the Olympia hype has been a little bit meh this year? Have you guys felt that way? I was just thinking about that today. I'm not seeing a lot of hype for this year's Olympia. I'm biased with Jess because she is one of my friends as well. I've had her at my Cuties Conquering the Stage event several times, and I've known her my entire competitive career. And she's just a phenomenal representation of the sport, regardless of her physique. Outside of her physique, just as a person, she's a phenomenal representative for the sport. So, I'm biased as well. But, just strictly physique-wise, I think it's going to be hard to have her beat. It does feel very quiet and different. I agree. It's very weird. It's very, very weird. So let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. Yeah, I just went on, for those of you that don't know, there's an option now for the Olympia where you can buy an Elite Expo Pass. It's like I think it's like $275 or something like that. And that gets you front row access, all that kind of stuff to the prejudging, which that's all I really care about. I typically don't go to finals. They tend to have like a watch party, for finals. We either do it ourselves or they had one here in Vegas last year at one of the clubs at Zook. So I went to that last year. So I tend to do watch parties versus actually going in person, because again, when it comes to bodybuilding, it's one of these nuanced sports where if you can't be right up close to it, it's kind of pointless. So I don't want to be in a nosebleed seat because I can't see shit anyway. So why am I going to spend, $400 on a ticket when I can't see anything anyway? So anyways, so I went and got my expo ticket yesterday, I think it was when I bought it. And I'm looking at the tickets for Fridays and Saturdays finals, and there's a ton that are still available. And that's not typical. Like, we're in August right now. The Olympia is in October. Like, usually by now, all of these tickets are sold out, especially for Saturday. Sometimes not for Friday. Friday's different. Friday doesn't usually sell out, but Saturday, yes. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like there's not a whole lot going on. There's nothing really hyping up the Olympia this year. I'm not seeing press. I'm not seeing anything. Vlog videos. I'm not seeing any of the top contenders coming out talking about it, other than like Nick Walker. He's about the only one. I don't know. It's just really weird to me this year. It's just a show to lose, but I would potentially love to see Nicole take the win, as she's an incredible ambassador. I think it might be due to popular competitors and not competing. Issa, Jen, Maureen hasn't done well this year. Tickets went up more, and mezzanine seats went up to $200 from last year. It looks so long for them to even announce. Yeah, I mean, it did take them a long time to announce the Olympic date. You're right, it did. And yes, the finals tickets are ridiculously priced. Like the nosebleed seats are $350. I'm like, I'm not spending that to be up in the back corner. Like, I'm not doing that, That's one of the things, again, I go back to the difference between the Olympia and the Arnold. Like, you can get finals tickets that are good finals tickets for like $100 at the Arnold, versus $300 something for nosebleeds, right? Like, and that's not even with taxes and fees. It's like $340, $350, and that's even without taxes and fees. Like, seriously? Bro, no. When like a group of 20 of us could get together, get one live stream and sit and watch it and actually enjoy it and like have fun and see what's actually happening on the screen, I don't know. I think that means possibly the prize money for Open and Classic are going up after Arnold is making the show more than the Olympia. I mean, they can increase the prize money all they want, but if they don't increase the fan and user experience, I'm not going. I mean, I go to prejudging because that's where all the judging takes place. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not looking forward to sitting through an hour and a half of routines for one division. I want to see comparisons, and that's it. That's all I'm there for. I'm there for comparisons, right? And I got to sit there all day to see all this shit that I don't want to see, just to see the comparisons, right? And I know we've talked about this kind of stuff, and I could ramble on and rant about this kind of thing all the time. But until they make some changes to make this more exciting and interesting to watch, I think that the sales are just gonna get worse. I really do. As much of a fan of the sport I am, I don't want to sit through hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of prejudging. I just don't want to do it. And that I don't even want to do it for bikini, and that's the main division that I want to go and see, right? And if I don't want to sit through it, I can't imagine that anybody else wants to. I mean, I'm a stand for the sport, right? And I don't want to sit through it. So it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, we got to figure something else out. Because at this point, it's like, what, 62, 63 competitors in bikini alone are qualified. And we're not done yet with the qualification system. So it's literally going to be an hour and a half at least of just individual routines for one division. Like, that's friggin' crazy. And I've said this before. I think a good way of doing this would be to take out the individual routines and just do, first looks, give them a little bit extra time when they're doing the first looks and pull girls from each first look to do the comparisons, because that's where the rubber hits the road. It doesn't matter until you're next to everybody, right? Are so different this year, much quieter. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep. There used to be so much talk, even gossip about the top competitors. This year, most of the threads are about fit model progress. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I noticed that even in you're right, in Reddit, there's just not a lot of hype. There's just not a lot of buzz. I don't, it's just bleh. It's, the Reddit threads, like you said, are people in there talking about themselves, asking for help with their progress photos and things like that. There's nothing surrounding these top competitors. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'll be at the Olympia. I'm there every year. And now that I'm living here in Vegas, it makes it really easy. It's right down the street. I don't even have to get a hotel room. So I don't know. Which, by the way, you guys, I still do have like 3 spots available in my posing boot camp. I'm doing it right after the Olympia. So if you are coming out here and you're interested in doing that, we just put the itinerary out. It's Sunday and Monday following the Olympia. It's not only posing, it's also training. Fit Club here in Vegas has agreed to sponsor. And so we are going to be training at Fit Club, doing training evaluations, going through your training programming and correcting your form and your function and all that kind of stuff. We are also going to be going through macros and how to create macro-friendly meals. And we're going to be planning our meals out with macros as well. We are going to be going downtown near where I live here to where I go to my pole dancing studio. We're going to use that for posing. And then we are going to do an actual posing or pole dancing class as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do girls' night out on Sunday, girls' night in. We're at an Airbnb. So we're going to be girls' night in on Monday night, have lots of drinks and fun and like girl bonding time and all of that. So if this is something that you want to do, I'll put the link in the description box. When I repost this, I should have put it in there to start, but I'll put it in the description box so you can click on it and check it out. The itinerary is up on the page now because there's a few more spots available for that. So there used to be so much buzz around. I know. I mean, this is why I said, you guys, as far as my content and actually talking to you guys here for live streams and stuff, I'm only going to be covering, the big shows because there's just not a lot of hype around the rest of them. There's just not. There wasn't even a lot of hype around Tampa. I covered Tampa because Tampa is a good indicator and implications for the Olympia and all of that. But really, there was not a lot of hype. Usually Tampa, you get girls in there that are top 5 at the Olympia, that are going in to try to win the title, that are trying to defend their titles. We had none of that this year. None of it. So I don't know. It's just a little weird. But going back to if you want to do the posing, Showtime posing boot camp, it's not just posing, it's everything. It's training, it's diet, and it's girl time, girl bonding time. So for those of you that have been to CCTS, it's like that, but it's just a mini version. It's going to be just like 10 to 15 girls total. So yeah, be fun times. Guys, have any questions or anything else you want to add? I'm going to leave this open for a couple more minutes like I always do. If you want to type in any of the comments. Yeah, I didn't really plan on going into the whole like, why is the Olympia so quiet this year thing, but it just kind of snowballed that way. And I'm also glad it's not just me noticing this, because I've been noticing this for a while. Like I said, when I went to go get those tickets, I was like, damn. I was like, usually these are sold out months in advance. Like as soon as they open up the ticket sales, they sell out typically. And they did for the Arnold. I don't know. Maybe the Olympia needs to start listening to the Arnold a little bit more. Just saying. User experience. It's a big deal. User experience. I'm going to leave this open for like another minute, and then we'll shut it down for tonight. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this before too. I just feel like there's a lot of negativity where there doesn't need to be. Like I said, with people calling out other bodybuilders for dancing on stage and the whole hate surrounding Fit Model and all of that. I just feel like there's a lot of negativity in the sport, and that does not do anything good for the sport at all. It's sad. It's really sad. Really sad to shit on people that are just trying to go after their dreams, really, to be honest with you. It makes me sad. So I try to stick around with, the concept of helping people achieve their dreams and not shitting on them when they do it, Just saying. Well, we are hitting about the 45-minute mark here for this live stream. So nope, we're not previewing next weekend shows. Like I said last week, I'm only previewing the major shows that have something to do with like what was a top tier show. That's why I previewed Tampa, but I'm not going to preview any of the shows this coming weekend like Tahoe or Texas. We'd be here forever. That's why I previewed the Masters Olympia. Okay. And Texas has Jordan in it. She's the last girl from the top 10 who needs to qualify. So yeah, we'll see if that works out for her. There's still plenty of time to qualify. So she's got time, even if this is just like a warm up for her. You know what I mean? So with that said, you guys, I don't know. Hopefully we get some Olympia hype coming up pretty soon, because it's going to be here before you know it. It's in October. Like, it's coming around the corner. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping that Fit Model will breathe some life into the sport. I do. Bring in some more mainstream audience, more mainstream sponsors and things like that, because we need it. Got to keep this sport alive, you guys. We got to keep this sport alive. So with that, you guys, I hope you've had a great week so far. I'm curious to see how everything goes with the Masters Olympia this coming weekend. And hey, let's still be positive on our end, right? Let's get some good hype going on our end. So with that, you guys, I'm going to let y'all